Hello and welcome to the Panch Pod. My name is Panchsheel and this is a podcast where I talk about creativity, art, and everything in between. This is more like an update episode. What has been up? How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're not sick. I have been busy. I've been reading quite a bit, trying to understand where I stand in the grand scheme of things. Not that there is a grand scheme of things, predestiny is a myth. I've been reading a lot about social change and people's movements and how that has led to change in society and culture as a whole, and it's quite interesting. But anyway, career wise, I'm a little bit lost if I'm being very honest. I find myself pivoting from filmmaking as a whole. I don't think I love it as much anymore. With everything that I've made so far in the past year, I think I'm finally at a point where I am confident in the direction that I'm going with my content. I've realized that I want to create content, and through that content, I want to facilitate conversations that hopefully help you think differently about certain topics. Caste is going to be one of the major topics going forward, especially in the video content that I'm going to be making. And with my podcast, I'm going to be trying to get more interesting people, artists, creators on board to discuss why they do what they do. With that being said, I'm finally restarting the podcast, but properly with a structure now. This can be like a season 2. One major announcement about season 2 is that it's going to be an audio only season, which means that I will no longer be uploading full length episodes to this YouTube channel. Shorter snippets from the podcast will be going up on a separate YouTube channel that I've made for the Panch Pod. And you will be able to listen to the full episodes only on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcast episodes. YouTube channel update. The videos on this channel will be a little bit erratic because I actually want to take some time and create good ones. But the podcast will be regular. And by that I mean it's going to be weekly starting today, at least for a month. The only concern I have with the podcast is that I want to do in-person interviews, but I fear that may not be possible because of the pandemic. In-person interviews really they're just so much better in terms of you don't have to deal with bad internet, you don't have to deal with bad audio, and the conversations are just much better and much flowy. So I think I'm going to have to miss out on that, which is why I just said regular content for a month. There's no point in lying about the consistency part because we all know it's tough, but we persevere. So yeah, not being able to record in-person interviews seems like a future me problem, so I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. I have one small request before you go. It would mean the world to me if you could rate my podcast on Spotify. I'll put the link in the description because I've heard that good ratings can lead to more people discovering the podcast. And this is something that I want to do a lot more seriously this year. Talk to more people and hopefully bring about more interesting conversations. And that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you next week.